there, folks. It's your buddy Mike Messier. I haven't done a live stream in a little while. I haven't been watching a whole lot of wrestling in general, modern stuff. Been watching a lot of old Memphis. But tonight I did catch the end of AEW, so I thought I'd come on here with some thoughts on what I saw on Dynamite, and looking forward to this big pay-per-view extravaganza, which I will be watching from the comfort of the movie theater. Some of you longtime Mike Messier fans know that I typically go to the movie theaters to watch the AEW pay-per-views, and this weekend will be a double header of movie theater mania, starting on Saturday night with the UFC pay-per-view, bringing the return of John Bones Jones, who I'm not a fan of, and I hope he gets choked out in his match. And then the next night, I'll be back to the same theater, pretty much the same row of seats, not the exact same seat, to watch the AEW Revolution. And we've got some big matches. MJF and Bryan Danielson going for an hour. We know it's going to be an hour match because it's a marathon match, or an Iron Man match, as you might call it. I'm trying to think of how many Iron Man matches have been on pay-per-view at this point. I mean, they go back, believe it or not. What was the first company to have an Iron Man match on pay-per-view television? Trivia question: what was the first Iron Man match ever on wrestling pay-per-view? I'll give you a moment to think about it. And I will answer the question. It was Ravishing Rick Rude versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. 1992 Beach Blast, I believe. They went for 30 minutes. It was a 30-man Iron Man challenge. And then about a year later, it might have been at Beach Blast 93, but Rick Rude repeated the act and did a 30-man Iron Man challenge with none other than Dustin Rhodes. So that was two in the books for WCW, well before, a couple of years before, Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart did their, at this point, kind of infamous, legendary 60-minute Iron Man match. Now, where will this MJF Daniel Bryan match rank? By the way, that half-hour limit for Iron Man match is kind of a good idea, because you get a lot more action in 30 minutes, typically. I think this match is going to blow the roof off the joint. I think if you remember just, a year and change ago, perhaps, when Bryan Danielson came in to AEW, he had a really, I even predicted it would be a 30-minute draw against Kenny Omega. I believe that was a non-title match. Omega was the champion at the time. And then he did another match, Daniel did, with Hangman Page, I believe. They put some time in. And I believe he put some time in with Moxley a couple of times. So, Daniel Bryan, head injuries or not, can still go as far as we've seen. I mean, I don't think we've seen any let up from this guy or any diminishing returns from him. Now, the wrestlers will use this term, his dance partner, which I think that's a little effeminate, but we'll go with it. His dance partner in this match will be none other than Maxwell J. Friedman, Maxwell J., MJF, and I think it's going to be a good match. I think it'll be a great match, actually. I think, MJF, I'm going to take a sip of water here. If you happen to be catching this live, feel free to comment, question, query, put your thoughts in. I'm also going to touch on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I'm going to further explain the new regime here with my YouTube presence and what's going on. And hopefully the audio is good this time. Last time I did a live stream, the audio was not so good. But moving forth, we've got all these exciting things happening. And what else? Just a lot of excitement, folks. So the tag team battle royal tonight saw Danhausen and Orange Cassidy win. I'm assuming that Orange Cassidy still has that All-Atlantic Championship, which, I mean, I think it's kind of an unnecessary championship, to be honest with you. It makes very little sense. You know, for the short time that Pac had that title, he was kind of doing some interesting things with it. But, I mean, the title just seems to mean nothing now. And maybe Orange lost it somewhere. I just don't know. Tag team battle was interesting for me for a numerad of reasons. A couple of teams that were new in this thing. The Irish guys or English guys or something. And also my old buddy Mike Bennett, my Baton brother in the film Anders Manor that I co-wrote. Mike Bennett and his partner, another guy I'd known for a long time, Matt Taven from the old Top Rope Promotions. Two, you know, in real life, they're really nice guys. And brought to the ring by Mike's wife, the lovely Maria Kanellis. Actually, she's one of the most underrated wrestling historians, especially for women's wrestling. Maria has quite the mind for women's wrestling. So maybe that'll be further on display at some point in her journey, as the kids say. But in any event, it was nice to see some new faces and some old faces and or some, you know, familiar friends in this thing. And Danhausen and Orange win it. They pull it off. So good for them. They'll be with the Acclaimed, the former champions, the champions, the Ass Boys, and Jarrett and Lethal. So it should be quite an interesting four-person or four-team match. The only four-team match, I mean, there's WWE used to do them. If you go back to WrestleMania, oh God, wasn't there one, you know, with like the Godwins and the Body Donnas and the Smoking Guns? I mean, these things have been going on for a while. Yeah, they kind of make me a little nauseated. I think I saw one live as a child in that era, and I think it was those three teams and I want to say the New Rockers. So it was like the New Rockers, the Body Donnas, Skip and Zip with Sonny, the Smoking Guns, and the Hillbillies, the Godwins. So, I mean, those matches typically kind of suck. I know that, you know, AEW, the wrestlers take a lot of pride in having great matches. So maybe they'll figure out a way to have that match be interesting, that four-team match. But it does feel at times when they do matches like that, no matter what company it is, it's just because they want to get a lot of guys a paycheck. You know, sometimes these wrestling companies do things for the benefit of the wrestlers and not the fans. You know, I mean, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, there was like a 7-hour WrestleMania, the one that the women, you know, main evented. Becky and Ronda and Charlotte O'Mai. And a friend of mine actually attended that show and said that people were, you know, falling asleep in their chairs by the end of that pay-per-view, the WrestleMania. Not the women's fault, just the show was 7 hours long, which is a tinge much. What else, folks? So I did see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre tonight. I'll probably do a full review over on my new YouTube channel, which is One Mike Messier YouTube channel. If you happen to be checking in, you don't know what the hell's going on. I recently, finally, after 2 years of spinning my wheels, decided to split up my channel. So subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel is now 3 different channels. One Pro Wrestling Fan, which we're on now. And also One Mike Messier YouTube channel, which is over there, and also One Man in a Camera Films, which is my higher end stuff. And that's about it. So the movie is pretty intense. I've never seen it before. It was the first time that I ever saw the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. And I've never seen any of the sequels or the Matthew McConaughey remake or any of that stuff. It's just been a hole in my programming. So the movie was quite intense. If you haven't seen it, this is the original, I think 1974. Very vicious. If you have any comments or questions, type them up real quick, because this is, you know, if not. But the AEW pay-per-view, looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. You get a lot of interesting things going on in AEW. You know, so on and so forth. I haven't been watching every week, so I'm looking forward to this pay-per-view to catch up on everything. And but I do feel like the women's title match will be interesting. Saraya, you know, I'm kind of surprised that she's in the main event scene. No offense to her, but I haven't really been that impressed with her singles match with Britt Baker a pay-per-view or two ago. But Saraya and Jamie Hayter and Ruby Soho will be fighting for the women's title in a three-person match or a three-women's match. I kind of feel like it might be a way for them to switch that title over to Ruby. And that might make it interesting. I don't think Saraya really needs the belt, and I don't think she'd be a great champion per se. I think she's, you know, I don't know. But Jamie Hayter's got a lot of momentum as a champion. People still like her. You could do a thing where they have Britt Baker accidentally cost Jamie the belt. Ruby kind of turns heel and takes advantage of some situation like that. And then you push Ruby Soho as a heel women's champion. That might be interesting. And, you know, but I just don't see Saraya really needing that title, or, to be honest, I don't think her matches are really that good. I think her best wrestling matches that I saw, Saraya, was back when she was wrestling AJ Lee, and that's going 10 years ago. And I think that the neck injuries that she's sustained have kind of, you know, hurt her in the ring, and so on and so forth. So anyway, it'll be another packed, you know, show. This Revolution thing, it's going to be packed. It's going to be tons of matches. Like I said, I will be going to the Friendly Movie Theater to watch it in person, or to watch not in person, but I'll be watching the show from the comfort of the movie theater, which I'm looking forward to. If you have any thoughts or questions or queries, hurry up and type them up. Otherwise, I'm going to call this thing to an end. If you're watching this on the replay, if you have any thoughts, or if you want to make any predictions for this AEW Revolution pay-per-view, or if you have any thoughts on the film Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or if you have any thoughts on anything, go ahead and leave them, and I will read them. Okay, have a great night. Mike Messier. Have a good rest of your week.